Once again, thank you so much for your time, Mustafa Al-Ali, for his wonderful recitations.
Absolutely.
As again, this part of the show, we are taking a bit of a deep dive into the du'as and the supplications associated with Muharram and Ashura. And we have our dear distinguished guest, Ibrahim Al-Ansari. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, how about yourselves?
Alhamdulillah, good, thank you.
Doing very, very well. We had a very interesting discussion since the last episode. We wanted to cover a lot, but we managed to cover just a bit of what we really wanted to get at from our last episode. Really, really good discussions. Essentially, just to follow on from our last conversation,
Sure.
and I guess the question that I asked was, in terms of preparation for Muharram, and of course now we're a couple of days into Muharram, so we're gearing towards Ashura.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting points that you mentioned was actually supplication, as well as every other aspect of preparing for Muharram, is all speaking directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the supplications, as they are, it's a conversation with Allah.
Definitely.
Tonight or today you're going to be focusing on Zyarat Ashura specifically.
Yes.
And of course, as we know, Zyarat Ashura has many different components. One of the components, interestingly, is association and disassociation. Tawalli and tabarri. So association is associating yourself with the infallibles, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and disassociation, correct me
From
if I'm
the
wrong,
enemies.
from the enemies. So why is it you're focusing on this aspect of the ziyarah today?
You see, with association and dissociation, not only is it in furu' ad-din, so when we look at furu' ad-din and we have all the furu' and then we come to the specific association and disassociation, we find that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, one of the main stances he actually took in his story relating to Muharram was disassociation, which is in where they asked him to give bay'ah, to give allegiance to Yazid ibn Muawiyah. And he stood there and he started describing his actions. Sharibun lil khamr, he drinks alcohol, he plays with monkeys and pigs and etc. And he started to describe his very bad attributes. And then he said something very important. He said, Mithli la yubayi'u mithlah. Someone like me would never pay allegiance to someone like him.
So what you're saying is Imam Hussein is developing a criteria of an ideal human being and a not ideal human being.
Definitely.
So he's painting the picture of what I am disassociating with is, for example, drinking alcohol or playing with certain animals or being of a corrupt nature. And what he says is everything that I do is the
opposite.
The opposite of that, yeah.
Definitely.
But do you think, sorry.
Sorry, no, go for it.
I was going to say that, so you talk about the association, disassociation, but for me, so for Imam Hussein had a very, sort of outwardly physical enemy in front of him, but often in this time and age, the enemy is within us. So when he's talking about disassociation, is it right to think that we're actually talking about the disassociation within us, where shaitan can influence us and actually make us become like Yazid?
Yeah.
We have that potential. So
we have, you see, it's very clear cut. We have the potential to be like those who oppress them. And the reason I say that very confidently, I would say, is no, we cannot become infallible. But one thing we realize, and I think this is very important, when Ali al-Akbar goes to the battlefield, Imam Hussein, what does he say? Allahumma shahid, oh Allah witness, أنه برز إليهم أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا بجد رسول الله. Oh Allah witness that to them has just gone to combat the one who is most like in terms of appearance and in terms of akhlaq, like my grandfather Rasulullah.
He also adds in terms of voice as well, ومنطقة.
ومنطقا. Yes, أحسنت. ومنطقا برسول الله. So who was the best of mankind, even better than Imam Ali, even better than Imam Hussein? Rasulullah. And we have Ali al-Akbar being the one who is most like him, خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسول الله. It's very important. It's Lady Zainab, when she stands, and I think in the next couple of episodes we have something specific for her, so we'll save that for that. But just a very quick intro into that. Lady Zainab, when she stands in the majlis of Yazid, and people look at the way she is talking, one of them, in fact, in Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad's majlis, one of the people that sees her talking, what does he say? He says, it's as if she is talking كأنها تفرغ عن لسان أبيها. It's as if Imam Ali is talking right now. So there's a specific thing, there's specific attributes in the infallibles that we can actually aim to achieve. In the same way, there are specific attributes in the enemies of the infallibles, in the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we can achieve as well. And we must, and the reason we started last episode with the dua of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us away from shaitan is to make sure that we're not like these people.
Yeah.
And also things like that, Yazid is a very extreme character, and Imam Hussein obviously an infallible, perfection there. But the way that Yazid is, if we were to go down the wrong path, it doesn't happen overnight. And the shaitan's whisperings, we have to be so careful not to go every point. We are sort of given this opportunity to be right and on the right path and the wrong path. So to always make that choice to be on the right path.
Definitely.
But rather than us going, I just wanted to go into the ziyarah that you've chosen today and to discuss about really what you've chosen, and then perhaps inshallah you can recite for us as well, please.
Inshallah. So of course this is not the start of the ziyarah, so after that it goes.
So this is Zyarat Ashura, right?
Zyarat Ashura, yes. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونصب لك الحرب وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. Of course, there's more to this towards the ziyarah, but I think there are specific parts that I think we should stop at just because I know the episode is very short and it would just take more time.
Thank you for that. It's beautiful.
But one thing that we realize, just to carry on the discussion, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
So we talked about walaya and bara'a, and we see over here that one of the most important things it mentions, it says بِمُوَالَاتِكُمْ وَمُوَالَاتِ وَلِيِّكُمْ. So by associating myself with you and associating myself with those associated with you.
Okay.
And when it comes to bara'a, it says, and by disassociating myself from your enemies, وَالنَّاصِبِينَ لَكُمْ حَرْبًا, those who did war against you, etc. And for those who are as part of their group, أشياعهم وأتباعهم, and those who followed them.
Okay.
So this is very important. So it means that association and dissociation is not just with the imams, not just with their enemies at that time. The enemies are still here today. And they come in all different forms, by the way. One of the main forms that they could come in, for example, is in fact by coming in as the most religious in our eyes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And those who associate with them, sometimes you find that a lot of people turn a blind eye to them.
Yeah.
But in fact, they are actually who get us closer, because sometimes it's a friend that gets you closer to religion.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is your father who gets you closer to religion. Sometimes it's a complete stranger. You might see a specific act on the street, and like, do you know what? and it hits you. It hits you. Do you know what? I need to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's very important. Association and dissociation is not just back then. It carries on here today. And we need to be very careful in terms of who we befriend, in terms of who we hang out with, in terms of who we deal with, even if it is in terms of jobs, who we deal with in our day-to-day jobs. Because as we know, for younger ones who are in school, they are amongst their friends, they are amongst their classmates. Those who are working, they are amongst their colleagues. They have a big influence. You're there from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
That's most of your day. You go back home, you rest, you eat, you might go out for a bit, and then you're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So most of your time is over there. We need to make sure that once we are in that specific place, we are in the right place. We are in a place that pleases Allah and the infallibles.
Yeah.
So what you're saying really is that the loyalty of our association, so have it for the right reasons and not because it's particularly a religious person or it's a religious group or it's, you know, it could be anybody. And you're absolutely right that you could be in the street, couldn't you? And you actually see something that's so amazing that's perhaps from a non-Muslim as we are in the West. And it just really makes you think, wow, that person, you know, it's a good reminder for yourself of how we should be. And I don't know, Ali, if you've got anything.
I wanted to actually move on just a bit because you've mentioned in terms of Wilaya and Bara, and actually very interestingly, I didn't actually notice that before, but it's not just associating yourself with the Imam or the opposite of the Imam, but it's also their groups and what they represent as well, which is fascinating. But in terms of Zyarat Ashura, as we know typically within our majalis, it's recited always in the beginning of the programs, as we usually know. Do you have some thought as to why this is?
You see, with Ziyara, if we would translate the literal word Ziyara, it means salutations. So or visiting. So in your Muharram majlis, one of the main things that you are actually there to do is for you to come closer to the Imam, correct? Now, for us to come closer, similarly with the dua, we said that we have a direct conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here we send our salams, we visit the Imam. And you know in Arabic when we say, I'm going to azur this specific person, so I'm going to visit this specific person, I'm going to attend, we want to get the visitation of the Imam. Once we are in the majlis, if we start by getting ourselves closer to the land of Karbala, we automatically, and I don't know if you've realized this or not, but as soon as the ziyarah is recited, there's a specific connection straight away, instantly. Because you're closer. You're closer to Karbala. You're closer to the shrine, even if we're so far away. And that is, I think, the most beautiful way to start. So of course, after the Holy Quran is being recited, so as I think very interestingly over here, also it says that you associate yourself with Allah. Then it says thumma. This specific word thumma is very important. Then the infallibles. Right. That is very important.
So it's a sequence.
And a lot of the attacks that we usually get is we put Allah and the infallibles in the same category. No, this is Imam Zain al-Abidin teaching us. He's saying that I'm going to associate myself with Allah, thumma, then the infallibles.
Sure.
And then so the Quran we start, and then we get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we get close to the infallibles through the ziyarah.
SubhanAllah, that's brilliant.
Beautiful.
Actually, just to confirm, we've got 2 sessions on Zyarat Ashura. So you mentioned something very interesting in terms of Zain Abidin. I would love to know more about his impact on Zyarat Ashura and what it means to him, as well as the history behind Zyarat Ashura. But Zahra, I think our time is up.
It is, unfortunately. Thank you so much. Which I will continue next morning.
Inshallah.
So inshallah, you have a blessed day today.
Inshallah, jazakumullah khair. Likewise to you.
Thank you so much.
So just moving on to the next part of Morning Baraka. What you'll see on your screens next is actually, as we are a couple of days into Muharram, we're going to be, and this is going to be the same for the rest of the next 2 months in a sense. Morning Baraka is going to be a Muharram Arba'in special. So we're going to show you little extracts from the land of Karbala. And as Ibrahim mentioned, you know, when it comes to our majalis, we want to align ourselves to the land of Karbala, to the land of Hussein alayhi salam. So what we'll do is we'll take extracts from the busy lifestyle of Karbala as a city and what happens there during Muharram, the locals, what they do, the commemorations, the processions, and then after that, inshallah, we'll go to verses of love.